Welcome everyone to episode 139 of the CEN Nutrition Podcast with your hosts Bryan and Peter today. And to kick off the new year, we have a podcast on our CEN CF50 Grain-Free Concentrate. What is it and how your horse can benefit? How are you, Peter?
Bryan, I'm very well. It's been a little while between drinks for us. There was a spider walking around on the wall yesterday, and I saw the cobwebs on the microphone, so I had to give him a good clean.
We've definitely had a decent break, and that was even before Christmas as well. And since then, Peter and I have been jet setting, even including over to New Zealand, where this product is available and doing very well over there too.
Yeah, it was a very interesting visit. Obviously, we got to meet our distributor there, Feed Central, who are doing a superb job. Obviously, a few potential clients as well. Did a few educational talks. So it was very productive. Obviously, a little bit different climate in New Zealand to what it is in Australia, but this product in particular is very good for both countries.
And we just wish everyone a happy new year and hope this 2025 is a good season for you and your horse. And when we looked at our previous podcast, this podcast is probably overdue for this product, so the CEN CF50, because it's had some really great improvements over the years, and this is going to really give you an insight of why it was designed, and anyone that's not familiar with the CEN CF50, how it is as a balancer concentrate, and a very healthy one at that.
Yeah, absolutely, Bryan. So I think where it stemmed from is with the diet consults that we're doing, obviously weekly, monthly, it's built up obviously over the months as well. A lot of people are asking us the question, what is the difference between the CF50 and the Grain-Free Ultimate? So maybe we address the elephant in the room. Well, what is the difference? Well, one is a concentrate, that's the CF50. The Grain-Free Ultimate is not a concentrate. So what that means is that it's concentrated in vitamins and minerals, and what that means is you need to feed a lot less of it to hit the same amount of vitamins and minerals that you may in a kilogram of the Ultimate. So as an example, and look, this is just a rule of thumb, argument's sake, 250 grams of the CF50 is the equivalent of about a kilogram of the Ultimate. And what that means is that if you've got a performance horse that you need the initial energy, you know, the best product for you will be the Grain-Free Ultimate. But if you've got a pony that's, you know, just rolling around in a paddock sort of, you know, enjoying its best life, you still got to hit those vitamins and minerals requirements that may be deficient in your pasture or your hay. And that's where that CF50, it might be as little as 50 grams, obviously up to 250 grams is at the top end, to correct those nutritional deficiencies.
And we get that analogy a lot, that these really good doers or easy keepers that can keep their weight on, like the smell of an oily rag per se, that they really benefit from this pellet because of the high fiber, low sugar, low starch, concentrated vitamin mineral source without packing those calories on. And they get those, as Peter said, their deficiencies corrected with the help of CEN CF50.
On a bit of an alarming note, Bryan, in the last couple of diets that I personally did, is a lot of people were underfeeding the Ultimate because obviously there's a lot of rain, especially in sort of Queensland, New South Wales, not as much Victoria, South Australia, but especially over our neck of the woods. And instead of the people feeding the minimum requirements, say for the Grain-Free Ultimate, they've actually halved it, or even feeding, 300 grams to 400 grams, not knowing that they're shortchanging that particular horse with the vitamins and minerals because they don't need the calories. So that's where, if you don't need the extra calories, this is the perfect product for you.
Yeah, 100%, Peter. And it goes on our mantra of your foundation of roughage, which is 1.5% a minimum in kgs of the body weight of your horse. So a 500 kg horse gets at least 7.5 kgs of roughage per day, gets balanced with something that is a low calorie source for these easy keepers or small ponies. And then this is where we bring it through with a fully grain-free concentrated vitamin mineral pellet. Contains essential amino acids, the vitamin minerals, and also probiotics and a prebiotic to support the digestive health in that low feeding rate, which is really cost effective.
Yeah, absolutely. And an example for this product to be fed would be if you've got ample grass pasture, it's green, it's rich, might be high in sugar, the horses basically, look immaculate on this pasture. Chances are it might be high iron and low in zinc and copper. You don't really know until you do your pasture analysis. But from experience, when we've looked at hundreds of these analyses, we know the regions in Australia where the iron is quite high and the zinc and copper is very low. This is the perfect product to help fulfill that deficiency. might be 100 grams, might be 150 grams, very small feed, but you're there just to correct those nutritional deficiencies, not the volume of the product that you're feeding. You're getting the volume out of the grass.
Yeah, definitely, Peter. The deficiencies in pasture and hay, those common ones, as you said, like zinc, copper, selenium, vitamin E, even the lysine, they can be easily helped corrected through this product, which is a really good palatable pellet that's based on the fava beans, which is still low sugar and low starch and 100% ulcer safe and laminitic friendly.
Yeah, Bryan, do you want to go into that, why this product is absolutely safe for laminitic horses?
Yeah, so we get this question a lot. So when we look at the profile of this product, our NSC sits around that 10%, which is still safe and regarded safe for laminitic or metabolic horses. But when you look at a concentrate as opposed to an actual feed, a complete feed, you're feeding such a low amount that the percentages really don't matter. So a rule of thumb, particularly with starch for a metabolic horse, is 0.3 grams per kg body weight for the horse per meal in starch, which for a 500 kg horse is 150 grams of starch per meal. When you look at all the feed rates for a concentrate, including CEN CF50, you can see that if you fed it at 200 grams, that upper limit, and it contains 10% starch, that's only 20 grams of starch. So you're way off anything that's going to trigger a laminitic episode or upset that metabolic balance of that insulin response. So being a pellet that has no grain byproducts, no added iron, no lucerne or soy, it's actually a very pure pellet, doesn't contain oil as part of our mantra of not having an oil or an oxidized oil within a pellet. But then you've also got those other benefits of that high fiber, and it's totally, as we said before, ulcer safe as well.
It's a great alternative to people feeding powders. So a lot of horses don't like powders. A lot of powders get left at the bottom of the feed bin or the side of the feed bin. So, if you've got a finicky horse, or you might be suspecting that your horse is not fully digesting or eating the powders, this is a great alternative because you can actually see, if anything's getting left behind. Being in a pelleted form, chances are it's all going to get eaten. It is very palatable. As Bryan mentioned, we don't add any additional iron because we know that Australian pastures and hays, for that matter, are very high in iron, and we do use a chelated organic zinc and copper manganese.
Yeah, and this results with the key benefits of the CF50 for your horse. So what we're trying to do is support their hoof and coat health. The biotin, the zinc, the copper, especially for their strong hooves and healthy coat. Zinc's better for the darker horse colours, and also the copper's better for the lighter ones. So you're looking at a good amino acid profile, which helps muscle recovery, pre and probiotics for the digestive health. You've got that metabolic friendly profile that we touched on before, which makes this one of the healthiest pellets or concentrated pellets for horses on the market.
Bryan, you've sold me. How do I sign up? Very convincing.
We've actually made it in a very convenient 6.5 kg bag. And when we look at some horse owners have to lug these 20 kg bags, when we want it easily accessible by everyone, even online, this is a really good sweet spot that has a good price per feed, but then also you're getting that quality vitamin mineral profile, which is full of that chelated minerals and the natural vitamin E. So we're not cutting, for example, we don't cut corners with the synthetic vitamin E, which is less absorbed than the natural one. And that's just one of the examples. But when you look at all diets for a horse, every horse should be treated as an individual. So the best thing for the horse owner to do is, if you do want to introduce this into your diet, book a diet consult with us, because we're happy to explain and go through for your individual needs for your horse, because there's so many factors involved with environment, genetics, and their workload. And we can really help zero down and get on top of it, which will probably save you money in the long run.
Just on that point, basically, Bryan, I went through my head about saving the money. So we do get a lot of people that are, supplementing a separate magnesium powder. They might be feeding a probiotic or a gut health product. They might be, feeding a toxin binder like mycosorbate or the like. So we created this product basically as an all-in-one. So I like to give the human example is that it's like supplementing your normal diet with a multivitamin tablet or tablets, which Bryan and I both do, because we know that obviously our food isn't as good as what it was 50 years ago. So, the soils and nutrients in our food isn't as high. So we take the decision to supplement through through a multivitamin, chelated multivitamin, methylated, whatever you want to call it. So this product is basically, it's not a complete feed. So, you may think, well, feeding 250 grams, like, my horse is going to lose a lot of weight. Well, it's not designed for that horse that's already skinny. This is purely a multivitamin for your horse. It will save you time and money, not mixing and matching the powders, running it through different online platforms. See if you're not feeding too much of this, if you don't have enough of that, trying to balance your calcium, phosphorus, you might have high oxalate pastures. It is very, very traumatic, and it takes a lot of time and a lot of stress with some of the owners that we talk to. So this is basically an all-in-one where, if you are doing 3 or 4 different supplements, you may look into the levels of ingredients in this product, and you may not need to feed 3 or 4 of those individual supplements / products, where you have basically everything in one.
Yeah, 100%, Peter. When you look at some of the hoof specialized supplements on the market, we do get a lot of consults that double up on specific macronutrients and micronutrients, and we can really get back to basics and having those foundations right with this balancer pellet, that you can really get the result while saving money at the same time. We can now probably add on to what we said about the profile is we brought the marine calcium and magnesium into this pellet a few years ago, and the benefit of this is marine calcium compared to calcium carbonate has a different structure. So it's more of a honeycomb structure, a bigger surface area. So it really helps the absorption of this and be utilized around the body of the horse, particularly obviously for bone, but then also to help buffer that gastric environment. But then it's used for muscle contraction and other body systems. We've had really great success using this marine source, which is from a red algae and sustainably sourced. So when you look at our profile, it goes on that mantra of keeping it simple, but for the Australian conditions. And as Pete said, you can really save money with this low feed rate.
Bryan, if we've got some of our listeners out there thinking, all right, I like the sound of that, Bryan and Pete, does this product suit my horse? Who would you say this product is ideal for? What type of horse?
Well, definitely those easy keepers. So the ones that do really well on their forage or that roughage source, that just need this for their body systems, particularly the immune system as well, which gets overlooked. So there are many pathways that use zinc in particular, and there's other body systems in the horse that use it as well. So if you're shortchanging it just on pasture, which does not have enough zinc, for example, then the horse is not best supported to really thrive in that domesticated environment. The other horse types would be your miniature ponies or those smaller horse breeds that don't require that additional calorie source on top, and also those ones sensitive to grains and sugars and the metabolic horses.
Yeah, also from my end, if there's any sort of people in performance, doesn't matter what sort of performance it is, if you've got a horse that's spelling and they're only going to be on grass, you might want to use this product as well, obviously, to try to correct maybe that iron, the high iron and the low zinc and copper, and also help having those micronutrients through the body even while the horse is spelling. So when you do bring it back into work, it's already got the base there, rather than you trying to start from scratch, possibly trying to correct a nutrition deficiency that the horse has got from the pasture if it's not fully balanced.
Yeah, that's well said, Peter. And if you are still holding on to other calorie sources like your beet pulps, which are high in iron, this is actually a very excellent balancer for this because of its better trace mineral profile to just bring that overall balance back for their body systems. As we said, this is not the complete feed or complete concentrate, because the key nutrients that is required to be fed with this is salt. So sodium and chloride. There's not enough sodium and chloride in any pellets to be at that sufficient amount of 25 grams a minimum per day to keep your horse properly hydrated, but also lower that risk of colic and keep that thirst activation going. So CEN CF50 should always be fed with salt, adequate salt per day. And then in particularly with a hay-based diet, which is lower in omega-3 or that plant-based omega-3, CEN oils are an excellent supplement to supplement on top to help with that plant-based omega-3, which has many benefits in the horse.
Bryan, you mentioned beet pulp there, and I'm not going to knock it over their head here, but I'm going to outline one particular aspect of beet pulp. It is pretty high in iron, and I think from memory it's 700 milligrams or 750 milligrams. And if you look at the zinc and the copper, I believe from memory it's 32 zinc and 3 3 milligrams of copper. So that's pretty big inversion basically to what it needs to be. So our product will still work with the beet pulp, but you may want to look at possibly, using another carrier. And look, if you're stuck with chaff, it might be a handful of chaff. Another alternative that I recommend, and it was a topic on our users group, was a lady mentioned whether they could use the Grain-Free Ultimate as a healthy carrier. And I ran the numbers on it, and I think we worked out that 250 grams of the Grain-Free Ultimate compared to the equivalent amount of chaff was about $20 cents difference. So the equivalent amount of chaff was 42 cents, and the 250 grams of the Grain-Free Ultimate was about 64 cents. So for the sake of 22 cents, you can use the Ultimate as a very healthy carrier. Obviously, if you're using that product for the other horses, 250 grams of the Ultimate is not enough for most horses to give them their daily vitamin mineral requirements. On top of that, we added 150 grams of the CF50 product, and that managed to balance that particular diet.
Yeah, that's well put, Peter, because that's another strategy. And as we know, all horses are individuals. So if you're still confused about feeding a concentrate to your horse or they need it, please reach out, because we do many diet consults per month. And I think we can go through some FAQs on this product that we've come across. So how do you feed the CEN CF50? So this can be fed dry, damp, or soaked, depending on your individual horse's needs. And some horses require that double handful of chaff just to encourage them with the texture. But overall, this pellet has been reported to be very palatable. And some use it as a training aid as well, a very healthy one.
I think, Bryan, from my end too, if someone's using the CEN oil, obviously, if they're going to feed 150 grams of the CF50, that feed bin's going to look very big for a very small amount of pellets. So that's where I think you mentioned that carrier, whether it's a double handful of chaff or a little bit of beet pulp, if that's what you're using, or even maybe the 250 grams of the Grain-Free Ultimate. It just gives it a bit more bulk to run the oil through, to run your salt through, possibly any other supplement powders that you may be using, because you need that volume to mix those powders and oil into.
Yeah, 100%, Pete. That's a great strategy. And one of the other FAQs was, what's the difference between the old lupin base and the new faba bean base that you're using? And there is not much difference there. We actually think this is more palatable, got the same protein quality, still regarded low sugar, low starch, so really safe for those metabolic horses, as we've outlined here. But we just feel that this pellet is more sustainably sourced on the East Coast, these raw ingredients, better quality. And I think when we look at our landscape over the past few years, we will never be out of stock.
And Bryan, the big thing as well, it's a price point thing. So by us moving the manufacturing onto the East Coast, we're able to reduce the product in some areas up to $15, $20 retail. So that's a huge. So what that's done is it's actually made the product more accessible, more available, and more affordable to majority of our customers now, where before we did get a bit of pushback. Oh, well, it's expensive, and we're trying to justify why it's expensive. Like we're dragging it out of Western Australia, trying to take it to Queensland, New South Wales. Transport companies are making a lot of money. Price of lupins are going through the roof. So we do think, obviously, of the overall situation. But for me, the biggest point is that it is more affordable, up to $20 in certain areas. A lot of the stores are happy. We've got access Australia-wide, whether you go and get it from your local store. It's available from our CEN website. But as I said, overall, Bryan and I feel nutritionally it's a better product. It's very similar amino acids. Protein quality is very good. Sugar and starch is still very low. Best of all, for the end consumer, it's much more affordable and it's sustainable.
Yeah, that's 100%. Peter, we're getting so many good results in many horse industries, and when you go into a store, it will sit around that $69.95, depending on the location. Obviously, not inner cities and out rural ways. It could be in the 70s, but you're not seeing those astronomical prices in the 90s that we saw in that previous lupin.
Well, and Bryan, and that was a very awkward conversation as well, obviously for yourself, myself and obviously the team. So we took that information on board and obviously put our brains together and said, well, what can we do to be proactive to try to fix this pain point? And I think with this faba bean base, obviously lupin bean, faba bean, it's the same family. We managed to come up with a product that we feel is a much better balanced product.
Oh, 100%, Pete. When we look at how this concentrate or how this pellet has come about, it's something we can move forward to as it's still supporting the Australian farmers. Now it's on the East Coast, and yeah, as we said before, we won't be in and out of stock like it was in the past.
Just to our New Zealand listeners too, the CF50 is available in New Zealand. Cambridge is our distributors. Feed Central, please jump on their website. The CEN oil is available as of this week. It went out of stock after the first order sold out really quickly. The 20 litre is now available as well, so please check the Feed Central website for pricing.
And we'd like to thank all our New Zealand clients over there.
Very astute, the New Zealand customers. They ask a lot of questions and we give them the answers that they paid the money for.
Yeah, so I think that brings us to a good summary of anyone listening to us for the first time, wanting to know this product. We'll just summarise what we've gone through. So the CEN CF50 is best for the easy keeper or the horse that doesn't require those extra calories. Those horses on just that roughage diet, but then you want them to thrive even further. They need that balanced nutrition. This pellet really helps balance that vitamin mineral profile back up for their body systems for support. Obviously, hoof health, skin and coat, immune system, and you've got your overall muscle health as well in that. The CEN CF50 is really beneficial for those horses that require that low sugar, low starch in their diet, those metabolic horses, laminitic, and also those ulcer-prone ones. And then this is also used in performance stables if the horse needs that vitamin mineral top-up without the bulk, or they're just a bit finicky with their grains because they're not doubling up on the grains, they're just really giving that extra vitamin mineral boost to them, because some of these horses are in 5-6 days work and really working, particularly in the summer hot weather.
Yeah, it's, as you mentioned, Bryan, it's for those horses that don't necessarily need or want to eat the big volumes of feeds, but still the owner, the trainer, doesn't want to sacrifice on those vitamins, minerals, and the nutritional benefits. So this product can be very easily integrated in that. If you've liked this podcast, guys, we do offer a free diet consult. There's myself, Bryan, Nicole, and Angelique has joined the family as well. So big red carpet rollout. Welcome to Angelique.
Yeah, she's actually one of the OG users of CEN way back in the day, and yeah, we're really grateful to have her on board to help out, because we've got a lot of clients to touch base with, and she'll be one of the managers around that too.
Absolutely. So if you do have questions or you've liked the podcast and you're like, geez, I'd like to get a second opinion, we do offer the free diet consults on our website. If you jump onto our website under the horse section, there's a diet consult tab. Click that. You just need to allocate your day and a time that suits you, and someone from the team will pick up the phone and call you, and we'll give you 15, 20 minutes, whatever it takes, to make sure that we give you the information that you need. We're at 109 5-star reviews on Spotify. Bryan's, he's chilled my ear off about 110, so I had to please someone give us another 5-star review. 110 would be fantastic, especially that it's episode 139.
Well, we could get to there and we might crack a gin.
Yeah.
Although I think we're in detox mode from Christmas.
Yeah. But if you did like the podcast, please share it with your family and friends. Let us know topics that you'd like us to cover. We're getting a little bit thin on the topics, so we'll try to do one at least every 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But if there is something that you want us to discuss urgently, just reach out to us. Yeah,
and another initiative we've been looking at is these webinars. So when you look at our CEN users group, we did put a call out to see if anyone would like to join us on a monthly question and answer webinar, which you would just log in through Zoom and you'd have access to Peter and I to answer some questions, any burning questions that you have about all things nutrition, even horse training related, and how that relates to nutrition. And we did one recently for Fiona at Harmony Horses, and it really was well received, with a lot of valuable information taken on board from her clients. And I think Peter and I can see the value in it. So we might be doing one later this month.
Yeah, so basically stay tuned for that one. We'll let everyone know once we sort of book something in. It is going to be limited spaces. We might keep it up to maybe 10, 15, 20 maximum, just to give everyone the opportunity to ask their questions and obviously get a proper answer, so we're not rushing.
Yep, and we never stop learning. Hey, Pete?
Absolutely, Bryan. That's what we're here for, to learn.
Yep. So we will be back with another episode soon, and thanks everyone for listening.
Thanks, guys.